suppose so. When you're in amongst it, you don't. I think you mentioned last year as well when we're going to see the typhoon. That when you're inside the typhoon, it's so noisy. That's the methodology, but also it's within the box. They nominate a box on the sky that's measured out. So you've got to concentrate now. If you want to keep up with Gerald Gordon Cooper, you're going to have to work hard, and you're going to have to think very, very fast if you want to put it on. It's amazing. Steinbach stable, Steve Jones describes this as a cross between an RV8 and a bar of soap. Squat and purposeful, tenacious and slippery, an exotic dancer resting among taxi drivers. Climb rate of 3,500 feet a minute with a phenomenal roll rate of 450 degrees a second. Slides, dumps, turns, rolls, the avalanches, drop shebacks, all the repertoire of modern aerobatic pilots, and this wonderful knife-edge climb there with a snap roll in the middle is all part of just an average day's work for Gerald Cooper. Lancashire-based pilot, so when he's not competing in competitions, he is running wickedly aerodrome. He's the first Brit to have received the gold medal in unlimited aerobatics in the history of aerobatics full flying. Gerald beat 21 of the best European aerobatic pilots, European air staff, aerobatic. Limits on this aircraft, it's the pilot which is the biggest limit, and that's why he's got to work so hard. He's training 2 or 3 times a day, and when he's not actually flying it, he's working at it, or indeed also running his aircraft as well. It's a phenomenal machine in all respects, and he is a phenomenal pilot. So look now, he actually residual power there on what's left in the turning propeller. He's almost hovering the aircraft. That he combines high-speed animated gyroscopic figures that defy the laws of physics and aerodynamics. And what is it? Well, it's a relatively new carbon fibre aircraft. Becoming pilots around the world. Superb power-to-weight ratio of the X-81, which is comparable easily to a Formula 1 race car, and indeed the drivers as well. So here we go, hanging it again. Look at that. He's virtually got no speed on the drop, and he's just turning it round now on the gyroscopic forces from the propeller. He lets it dump the whole weight over, going back through his own slope. Why he is currently number 1 in the Europeans. Behind him, really well-known guys, including the designer of this aircraft, Philip Steinbach, who can only manage a 5th position, an XA-42 behind. Nick Ratio, an up-and-coming young French guy, the girls are just starting to be managed at night, so we're going to see a lot more of this for the next few years as well. But it's Gerald's imaginative freestyle technique that creates this dynamic display, demonstrating why he is right up at the top, well placed in the world rankings. Pushing, pulling, turning, rotating, this is a man who gets bored very, very quickly in an aircraft. snap it and flick it and roll it in a second. And think of something completely different to do. Here's a good example of what I was just saying. He's done it again and again and again. Documentaries, gives loads of different air displays, and is also a partner of One Sky Aviation, an engineering business providing aircraft maintenance, as well as the manufacturer of thruster microlights. He also spends a lot of time while he's up at the airfield raising money for the Lancashire Air Ambulance and the Royal Air Force Association. Ladies and gentlemen, he's coming towards the end of his display now. This is Joe Cooper. Ladies and gentlemen, stuff. Come on, big wave there. That was just outstanding. It's actually pretty safe, I can assure you of that. It wouldn't have done it otherwise. And this is Captain Eddie Brown and Captain Alex. No, I think he's got Warrant Officer Clive Clark with him today as they come out of their version of the half Cuban. Yes, now we saw the Mark 8 sailing early on. And, this is a similar family aircraft, but of course doesn't have the radar sensors and also has skids instead of wings. It's very much at the backbone of Army operations right through the 70s and 80s, through the Northern Ireland campaign and indeed the Cold War. And it's mounted with tow missiles operating the army tank role. Eddie just putting through another loop. Extraordinary stuff really. We've got through a roll, a half Cuban and a loop in the first minute of a helicopter display, which is pretty unusual stuff. But okay, right now you're going to see a beautiful platform view there against the sky with a lovely big pedal turn. And I don't think the sky gets much prettier than that. So super stuff. Now interesting enough, this crew are currently on exercise across near Ripon in Yorkshire. From a standing start in the hover, they just hold the whole thing over the backs of their shoulders, went upside down. And that is all due to a semi-rigid titanium head. It enjoys the rigidity and flexibility to be able to do that. As he pulls it through another working in tandem there to be quite uncomfortable. Going up now, it's moving up, it's going 90 up, 90 down. Over the top, not the sort of thing they do after lunch, but something of course they practice readily themselves in their spare time. Doing now, Mr. Clark in the left-hand seat, he'll be just checking what to call the T's and P's and getting the visual references to ensure that Eddie flies the helicopter backwards now in a safe and direct line. At the same time, he'll put it through a few movements and pirouette it around so you get a good view of all the angles of it. Here we go now, just gradually turning it, flying, almost hanging on its side. Very, very unnatural position for a helicopter to be in. Now position is tight turn, you get a bit of rotor slap there, as we refer to it in the helicopter business. Again, this would be a popular manoeuvre, well, let's say popular, but certainly an operational manoeuvre when inserting troops on snatch DCPs, when checking cars and vehicles was used extensively for counter-terrorist operations. Now the crew will just come to a rest in front of you there. They'll be hovering for a little while. They'll pop their hands out of the windows in a moment and give you a quick wave. They're not quite finished yet, but they'll just give you a little nod, so a good chance all of you down there at the front to give the crew a wave as well. They're literally going straight from this display back onto exercise in North Yorkshire. I'm sure they're spending the night out in some tent somewhere, so really appreciate them coming across the Pennines this weekend to show you their full display. Turbojets. capable of performing the full spectrum of air operations from air policing, peace support through to high intensity conflict. This is an amazing machine. There's so much going for it, it's not true. 13 hard points underneath it to carry an awesome array of weapons. And you see now with the gear down, you see the landing lights on the undercarriage there. A high angle approach, as if he were landing back at a very, very slow speed, giving you a good view. Smile on his face. This is his last display this year and his last display as the 2013 Royal Air Force Typhoon display pilot, and he's just loving being here at Southport today. He just couldn't wait to get airborne, and this is terrific flying on a great day. Now an outside turn. This is where all the blood is now going to his head. Really hard. About minus 3G, so the equivalent weight of three times your body weight going towards your head. Just like no protection for that. Very difficult to counter the reverse blood flow. All those hard points are carrying a huge number of weapons. And when fully loaded, the aircraft can climb to 35,000 feet from releasing brakes off in just 90 seconds, up to a service ceiling just above 55,000 feet. A quite remarkable machine. Well, Jamie is slowing it all down now. He's going to pull the power back. He's put the stick back into his stomach, slowing it right down to the slowest possible speed. This is what we call a high alpha approach, where the high angle of attack, being held for nose high, is controlling the height on the throttle only. You might see some twitching there, the canards on the front as they stabilise the aircraft in a strange configuration. But he's got another lady on board, another passenger. She's far from Bessie, and when it isn't shooting into the shadows. I was discussing with Simon earlier on the differences between just going and training as a pilot in a puddle jumper as opposed to being in the sharp taking a lot of weaponry on board as well. taking up a huge amount of airspace. Departing the way he came in a most impressive fashion in the hands of a very delightful and extremely talented